All right, Nick, let's talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is a team really came onto a strong end of the season. If you look at it objectively, making the playoffs, winning a playoff game, and then losing to the eventual Super Bowl champions. Not that big of a deal. I think, there could have been worse ways to go out, but you're a very strong team now, and you have a pretty tight window that you're coming up on. And I think this is a really critical moment for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, Miles, before we get into that story detailing of what could be facing the Jaguars and why it's so critical this offseason, we want to hear from Jaguars fans in the comment section below. Look, obviously, this was a good year for the Jaguars. First year under Doug Peterson, you win the division. You fight to the bitter end to the Chiefs, obviously a really good team. But you still have some holes on the roster, some position groups you want to address. Let us know in the comment section below what position group you think the Jaguars really need to focus on addressing this offseason. And while you're down there in the comment section, make sure you hit the subscribe button. It really helps us grow the channel. Really, it's a big deal for us to just really help us with the algorithm. Plus, anytime we post Jacksonville content, we love talking about the Jaguars. It gets sent right to you, so you don't even have to lift the finger. But all right, Miles, what you got? What's the latest out of Jacksonville?
Yeah, Nick. So Jacksonville has a really big opportunity right now, and I think they need to try to maximize it in every way possible. This is a young team, and they're coming in a division that is right now isn't that strong, but they could be getting stronger. It looks like there's a lot of young quarterbacks potentially that are going to get drafted in this division, and they need to capitalize on the moment right now. And I think one thing they need to do is evaluate all the options at positions they have and kind of maximize the dollars they are spending. And one of the ways they could do that is it seems as if Evan Ingram, the tight end they signed to a 1-year deal to this team, is relatively productive last season. But I think those numbers are kind of inflated for the Peterson, the Trevor Lawrence effect, all of those things. I don't think it is a really smart investment because this was Ingram's by far his best year of his career, and he's been playing for 6 seasons now, Nick, in the NFL. I think this was kind of like a red herring season. I don't think he's going to be worth the big time dollars that somebody else is going to come out and pay him. So I think they need to focus their efforts somewhere else to maximize these dollars. And I think a really big option potentially for the Jaguars would be in the draft and looking at a guy like Michael Mayer from Notre Dame, a really good tight end prospect. And I think just the overall theme of what we're going for today, Nick, is that Jacksonville needs to maximize these dollars so they can maximize this tight window they are now in with this division around them growing and potentially getting stronger by the minute.
Yeah, like you alluded to, Miles. I think they've got like a 2-year window, right? Because obviously the Colts are going to go after a quarterback. I'm assuming obviously I don't see why they wouldn't in the draft. So they're going to have a young stud. The Texans most likely are going to go after Bryce Young after a year or two. He's going to be really good, right? The Titans could potentially going after a young quarterback as well. So there could be a couple of years there when the Titans are back on top. So right now, though, talking about 2023 and 2024, the Jaguars have the best quarterback in the division. I think probably the best offensive coach in the division. I think that's pretty much undisputed at this point. That means they are the favorite. They are the the odds on they're going to win the division this coming season and next year as well. What does that mean though, Miles? It means you have to capitalize on that window. It means you can't take it for granted. You can't overspend just for continuity's sake. We see teams do this all the time. I'm a fan of Dallas. Dallas tends to do this all the time. They had a really good run there a couple years early in Prescott's career. Zeke was doing good. So they said, hey, we don't want to shake up the boat here. Everybody loves each other. Let's give Zeke a huge pile of money. And then now, Zeke's contract is terrible. Their roster's taking a step back and they weren't able to capitalize on that window. We've seen what's happened with Dallas early playoff exits of the last couple of years. The Jaguars want to avoid that fate. And the way you avoid that fate is not throw money at players that had good seasons, even though they're really not that good. I think Doug Peterson does a heck of a job with his schemes with tight ends. Obviously, we saw what he did in Philly with Zach Ertz. I think Trevor Lawrence is obviously a phenomenal talent. They had plenty of weapons on that team anyway. So it wasn't like Evan Ingram was, it wasn't like everyone was focusing on Evan Ingram trying to eliminate him. He was able to take advantage of some favorable matchups and he did well and had some big games. But I definitely don't think he's worth the kind of money some team's going to throw at him this offseason. And I think the Jaguars have enough other holes that I think would be better for them to address using in free agency. I'm looking mainly in the secondary, some positions on defense. I think they've got some good guys, young guys in the front seven. I think they'll be okay there, but I'm looking more on the back end to address in free agency. In the meantime, let Ingram walk. And like you said, Miles, use the draft to address tight end if you really think it's that big a need.